From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, tonight, Bighorn County reports 3 more deaths tied to COVID-19. And the virus once again wipes out its own record as the state confirms 733 new cases across Montana today. Now, deaths across the state have now reached 203. The latest, a Bighorn County woman in her 80s, a man in his 60s, and another woman in her 70s. County health officials pleading with residents to stay at home when they can and wear a face mask if they need to enter the public. Now, active cases spiking across the state. The 700 plus reported today topples yesterday's record of 504. However, MTN reports today's number includes more than 200 cases in Missoula County that we reported yesterday. There are now more than 5,200 active cases and more than 16,000 total confirmed cases across Montana. The state reports 235 people are hospitalized. Now, the state will begin publicly displaying COVID hospital capacity tomorrow. The report will show bed capacity, number of ventilators, and ICU capacity. That announcement from Governor Bullock today during a press conference. His big announcement was to direct $200 million in CARES Act money to the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund. Now, Bullock says the move is to prevent Montana businesses from experiencing an 85% spike in their tax rate. Yellowstone and Flathead counties have reported the lion's share of the new cases in the past month. Bullock again affirmed his position on leaving stricter COVID mandates in the hands of local governments.
We'll continue to do everything we can at the state level to both help Montanans and businesses recover, including with like that unemployment trust fund that we talked about today. But I think more needs to be done, certainly.
Bullock also urged Congress and the president to find common ground and pass another COVID stimulus package to help financially impacted Americans. Well, Billings students are now into their 7th week of school amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Needless to say, the school day looks different with masks and social distancing, while some students have been struggling to learn in the remote classroom. Q2's Mitch Laggy touched bases with a local tutoring service to bring you help.
Billings parents, students, and teachers have seen massive changes to the education system since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Olga Prather, owner of Sylvan Learning Center in Billings, has been helping students throughout the first few weeks of school.
Things have changed for education in Montana and across the country. And what I'm most excited about seeing is that everybody is really stepping up to the plate.
About 2,500 Billings School District 2 students are doing their learning online. Prather said the first step to success in the virtual classroom is using the right mindset.
If we go into it thinking this is never going to work, then it's going to be difficult. But what I'm seeing is that we're adjusting, we're getting it. So maybe at the beginning it's difficult and kind of working together as a team. So teachers and parents really communicating and talking about what's most effective.
Prather has 3 tips that any student, whether remote or in person, can take away to see more success. And they're all pretty simple. First, set a schedule. Second, don't put off that homework. And third, establish clear communication between teachers, students, and parents.
Sometimes I see kids fall behind. They just don't do it daily. I say again, set a routine. Complete the work as early as possible. Kids do better in the morning, and make sure that you're checking in with the teacher, that you have everything completed and all expectations are met.
Someday, when the world is on the other side of the COVID-19 pandemic, Prather said she hopes educators learn from some of the successes in remote learning. In particular, she mentioned how technology has widened access to help for students across rural Montana. In Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Mitch. Now, Sylvan has been seeing students all day during the pandemic since remote students are less tied to the schedule of a school bell. Well, just 1 week after Billings students were allowed to cheer from the stands at Dallas Stadium, that run has come to an end. The school district announced today there will be no students allowed into the doubleheader on Friday. West plays at 4 against Great Falls High, and Senior and Skyview play at 7. 2 family members will still be allowed to attend. Just about halfway through the Blackfeet Reservation's 2-week shutdown, tribal leaders have now called in the Montana National Guard for help. The last check, Tribal leaders report more than 300 active cases on the reservation out of about 7,000 people who live in the area. Now, those numbers are about 2 weeks behind, so tribal leaders are still hopeful the shutdown will help flatten the curve. During the shutdown, masks are mandatory and non-essential outings are discouraged. There have been 3 coronavirus-related deaths so far on the Blackfeet Reservation. Well, the Missoula City County Health Department is cracking down after a recent boost in cases tied to people in their 20s. The county team will now conduct unannounced inspections of bars and restaurants during high business hours. Well, a local restaurant owner accused of sexual assault pleads not guilty in Yellowstone County District Court today. Shen Howard Hua Shen made his initial appearance and was released on his own recognizance. The Yellowstone County Attorney's Office charged the 48-year-old Shen with 1 felony count of sexual intercourse without consent and 2 misdemeanor counts of sexual assault. Shen is the part owner of the Carne Brazilian Grill, Wild Ginger Japanese Steakhouse, and the Asian Sea Grill. Court documents state Shen sexually assaulted a 28-year-old woman and a 34-year-old woman at Carne. He is to have no contact with the victims or enter businesses where alcoholic beverages are sold, except his businesses. Well, the judge also ordered Shen to forfeit his passport to the clerk of court. Well, we now know the name of a man killed in a fatal shooting in Central Billings this weekend. Yellowstone County Coroner Cliff Brophy says 33-year-old Kyle Reed of Billings died from a single gunshot wound to the head. The events unfolded just after 8 o'clock Sunday on the 1300 block of Custer Avenue. There have been no arrests or charges filed. The suspect had scratches on his head, and the victim was also armed with a gun. Well, if you struggled with your internet connection this morning, you're not alone. Billings and surrounding Montana areas experienced internet, phone, and cable-related outages through Spectrum. At around 9 a.m., Spectrum posted a tweet that read, quote, "We are aware of an issue affecting services for customers in Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado. Engineers and investigators are working towards a resolution." According to an outage map from Down Detector, areas experiencing these outages include Billings, Bozeman, Great Falls, Whitefish, Kalispell, Missoula, and Helena. No word from Spectrum about what caused the widespread outages. Up next on tonight's MTN 530 News on Q2, a look inside one specific Montana political race that's adding up to be the most expensive in history. Plus, why you'll be seeing double in tonight's Athlete of the Week.
And coming up in weather, we're getting ready for a major weather pattern change, one that takes us from hot and dry to one that's cooler and wetter. We'll show it to you and tell you all about it coming up.